miss your faces every day. I hope you guys are enjoying your little work from home life or school from home. I know I'm certainly working harder than I've ever worked, but I hope you guys are learning a lot. I feel like I'm learning a lot too. So in this series of walkthroughs, we're going to do account validation just a little bit differently than the book did it. Our book is overly complicated, and yes, as you grow as a programmer and a developer, things will get more and more complicated, but I thought we might take a step back and like break this down into little mini processes, so maybe you'll understand a little bit of the process of validation a little bit more. So if you have not already, download your files from Canvas. You should just have one HTML file, and we'll just do this all in the HTML. I've already embedded some CSS in there for you, and then you'll have some, we'll add some JavaScript, and we're going to code some HTML. I thought that would be a fun review for us. Eventually, this is what our form is going to look like. We want to validate the form in a different way so that the user is entering the information that we expect. So let's get started. In the body section, we're going to open up a div assigned to the class container. And then inside that, we're going to have a div with the class called header. And inside that, we'll have an H2 that says create account. All right, below the header div, we're going to start our main form. We're going to assign this form a class of form. And we'll give it an ID of form. Now all our controls, remember any kind of input, buttons, check boxes, those are called controls in forms, or you can sometimes called fields. All of those need to be inside of our forms. We're also going to give each one a label. So the first one will be our username, and I'm going to kind of just move this around so you can see eventually right there what we're creating. We're going to do a label for username, and it needs to say username. And I just added a little break here just to give us a little more flexibility. We could have done that in CSS. Okay, we're going to have a text box here, so our input type will be text. And then the placeholder is this text that you see right here. It just appears until the user types something there. So we can add placeholder of username. I'm going to do an ID of username. Give me just a second. I need to make my screen smaller so it'll catch in the recording. I'm not recording my whole screen. And then that's it. Okay, right after that input, we need something that has this little message right here. So let's add a span, and we're going to give it an ID of user name message. And we're just going to leave that empty because that's going to be where we customize our messages that appear. And then we're going to add another break there. Okay? So basically, we're going to repeat this process for all 4 controls, okay? But stick with me because I want to explain the reason that I did some things. So if you remember back when we were studying HTML, we learned that there were input controls, like an input field for email, and there was an input field for password. Remember, the email would be expecting an email address, and the password would hide what you typed. It would put little dots or little asterisks there. For the purposes of this project, I'm just going to use a text box for all of these. That way we're better able to see what we're typing, and then also we're using our validation, like what we are doing as programmers, not what the browser has built in already. For my placeholder, I'm going to do name@domain.com, and then ID is email. Then we're going to add, we're going to add another span there, and we're going to give it, I'm sorry, I'm looking at 2 different screens. We're on email, message, and that'll be an empty span with a break at the end. Oh, I forgot my break up here too. Let's add a break. Did I have a break? No, I had a break after my label. Sorry about that. It might help if we space these out a little more. Okay. So there's a break after the labels, and then there is a break after the span. Okay, I'm going to pause the video, finish typing this, and come right back. And then when I get everything typed, you can pause your video and see what you need to copy over. I'm back. I have completed typing what we need to make this form work correctly. So just pause your video and type what you need to type. Once you finished, note again that I did not use a password for the input type for passwords, and I did not use that for the email because I want us to be able to see again what we type. It'll be easier to help us troubleshoot. Also take notes of our IDs, where we have IDs for where messages will appear and our IDs for our input boxes, because we'll need to access those later in our JavaScript. Okay, once you have that typed, you're ready to move on to step 2. Yay!